All that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. When she gets there, she knows if the stores are all closed, with a word she can get what she came for. Ooh, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure, 'cause you know sometimes words have two meanings. In a tree by the brook, there's a songbird who sings. Sometimes all of our thoughts are misgiven. There's a feeling I get when I look to the west, and my spirit is crying for leaving. In my thoughts I have seen rings of smoke through the trees, and the voices of those who stand looking. Soon, if we all call the tune, then the piper will lead us to reason, and a new day will dawn for those who stand long, and the forests will echo with laughter. You don't know, the piper's calling you to join him. Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know your stairway lies on the whispering wind?
Some good old Led Zeppelin. Can't go wrong with some Stairway to Heaven. Welcome to episode 10. That is right, you heard me correct. I said episode 10 of some freaking God Mode Monday. It's been amazing. We've done about 10 episodes now. I think we missed like 1 week, possibly. I don't know. It's a possibility. But yeah, no, it's been absolutely fantastic doing this episode and doing this show with you guys. And yeah, I'm just really happy to be part of this. On some good news, we got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. That's for damn sure. We've got a hell of a lot of stuff to talk about, and so we won't be running short of anything. So I guess we can take joy in that. But besides that, I want to welcome you to episode 10. If you haven't already, do make sure to check out Mradio on all the social media, so Twitter, Instagram, to only Mradio, where you can see when we go live and who we go live with. But you can also see us on Twitch and YouTube at Mradio, which you can see all of our streams, what we do, and how you can join us. Either way, I shall not delay any longer because I know you guys are hungry, hungry hippos for some news. But anyway, getting away from that subject. Usually we start off, the show with some what games have I been playing, and sometimes people will send in what games that they've been playing, and we encourage that. And actually, we got someone sending in something today, Ghost of Tsushima, which I didn't play much. I'm going to be honest with you here. Before I go on what games I've played, I'm going to go into Ghost of Tsushima. Just a blocky truck there, and what I think of the game, and what the person who sent it in thinks. But yeah, no, they think they quote it as it's a really good game, and the multiplayer has only enhanced the experience of it. Which, as I said, I don't really have much experience with the game myself. I have seen walkthroughs of it. It looks fun, and I did hear about them adding multiplayer for totally free. Actually, 'cause you don't really get that much these days. It's mostly it costs money. But yeah, no, they're really liking the game, and I have to say, I recommend picking it up as well if you're into that kind of stuff. It's about a Japanese samurai. His island was took over, and you kind of have to take it back settlement by settlement. It's a really good game. I'd recommend it to anyone who's kind of looking for something new out there, something quirky, and and something kind of, if you enjoy a good story, you'll enjoy Ghost of Tsushima. Either way, what games have I been playing this week? Well, interestingly enough, I got my hands on Watch Dogs Legion on the European launch date. And yeah, no, I I don't want to talk about it too much because actually the next segment is me talking about my review of the game. So we will have that on a little bit. So I don't want to give away too much, but I do want to say that I'm very impressed with the game. And I only have really two negatives of the game right now, which is, first of all, god damn, my throat's really bad today. Which first off is the bugs. It could have been done, a little bit more time in the oven if you catch my drift. It could have stayed in development a little bit longer to sort out some of those bugs, because some of them are game breaking right now. I remember I couldn't launch my game for a full hour just because bugs kept interrupting it and everything. So sometimes, and I heard on Xbox, they're having a really bad time with it over there. So it could have done with a little bit more time, but besides that, it's fairly. Oh well, I give it. I won't actually tell you what I give it. We'll leave that for the next segment. Obviously, Red Dead Online. I have to say, it's the first 3 days of playing Red Dead Online for the first time in a few months. Oh my god, we're back doing this. It's so exciting, and now it's boring again. There's only so much gator hunting and kind of bounty killing you can do before it just all kind of becomes boring and saturated and not fun anymore. And at this point, me and my friends are really just getting on each other's nerves. He's like, don't do it, you bitch, and then you just get lassoed for the millionth time. And yeah, no, it's definitely coming to an end. The heaven that was Red Dead Online for a brief 3 days. I've also been playing GTA 5. If you guys don't know, Mradio, we're filming our second ever TV series on GTA Machinima, and it's called State of Wilderness, and we're currently actually recruiting voice actors. So if you have a good mic, you think you can make it in the voice acting game, feel free to contact us on our Discord. If not, you can sit back and enjoy it, because we are really working hard on it. The script is being polished up, and not as we speak, but probably after this show is finished, because I am directing and writing. So, short little brag, I had to put in the brag there. And along with that, Very exciting. It's basically a nature documentary about just all the animals. And one of the things that I kind of want the series to implement is not taking itself too serious. I was looking at a lot of GTA Machinima over the past few weeks, like just coming out of quarantine really, is when I got really interested in it. I've been interested in it for a while, but before I kind of started doing it myself, I guess you could say. And I've noticed a lot that a lot of the movies, and there's not really that many TV series, but I noticed two things. And these are two things that I think will really reshape the community if we can, get them down the head. Is first off, not taking itself too seriously. I've noticed a lot with a lot of the movies, they're very dramatic, dull. They consist of two main things. First of all, the protagonist, having a soul-destroying experience, which is one of the main kind of things in most movies. You get like character. There's this phrase I once I learned. It's I can't remember the first part of it, but basically it talks about a character developing in darkness, and I feel like that's taken quite literally. Is that a lot of people feel that for a character or a protagonist to develop as a person, for people to like them, they need to face adversity and then overcome that adversity, and that has been like a core concept of movie development for centuries, or decades actually, not centuries. And I feel it's very important that we don't take ourselves too serious, especially when I'm directing. I try not to take it all too serious. There's some funny elements of it. We kind of have a little bit of comedy sprinkled through it, but we also kind of have just really not taking ourselves too serious. The other thing I noticed is obviously just having a very, very, very there's not really that much community interaction with it. It is more like I don't know the exact word for it, but it's not very interactive. You kind of watch the movie, you sit there, and you're like, oh well, that's cool, and you move on the very next day. What we're trying to do is we're trying to film it. Some series we done Crime on the Street, which is basically me, going around 5M servers and seeing the crime on the street. And we interacted with loads of different gangs and members, and what they done is they brought their own personality to it. So I feel like that was pretty cool. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get loads of different people involved, no matter if they're experienced or not experienced, whether they're good or they're bad. And it kind of just really pays off, because in the end you're stuck with something beautiful. So those are the two things we're trying to achieve right now. I won't go too much into it. And those are the main games I'm playing. Obviously Football Manager 20, but I get the feeling that most people don't care about that game. I just kind of list off, oh yep, Football Manager again. They're like, yep, you like that Football Manager, don't you? I can't get enough of it. I'm addicted. Thankfully, with the launch of Watch Dogs Legion, I've started playing less of it. Like, I went like a whole 3 days without playing. I forgot it existed, and that was a pretty nice feeling. But it's just like I'm gonna boot it up for like 10 minutes, and then half an hour later, oh crap. So yeah, and now, goddamn, my throat's back at me again. Now we're going to get back into, after that segment's finished, we're going to get back into the Watch Dogs Legion. So I've talked about this, sprinkled around it, but I haven't really got into it yet. And I will begin my review. I done actually a review on my channel, and I streamed it 6 hours for the first day, okay? And then I was like, have to compress this into less than 10 minutes. So then I done like a 7-minute video of me just, expressing my feelings about the game, and what it does good and what it doesn't do so good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and compress that again. But honestly, my first impression of Watch Dogs Legion was hell to the goddamn yes. It was like, it's everything. Like, I went through a really big struggle to get the game, because I bought it on Epic Games Launcher, and then I was like, because I didn't know this, it wasn't like knowledge to me, it wasn't spread around. Ubisoft didn't release a statement, but apparently the European launch date was on the 29th, but it wasn't until 3 p.m. Where like all the other countries that were released on the 29th, it released like exactly at midnight. So it was definitely confusing. So I was like, oh well, I can't play obviously Epic Games because they're just a pain in the ass. So I get it refunded and I go buy it on Ubisoft or Ubisoft Connect, I believe is what they call it, Uplay and all that. And I'm like, alright, I'm just going to buy it here and then I can play it. I tried buying it there, but it denies me. Okay, and I'm like, okay, well, there's like 4 hours to launch. It's all good. Let me just get it again. I'll just go back to Epic Games, because at this point I found out that it was at 3 p.m. thanks to a very dear friend of mine, Mr. Liberty City. He knows who he is, And I go back and I buy it on Epic Games, but it doesn't allow me to buy it on Epic Games. And then literally like 8 minutes before launch day, okay, I had it downloaded to the PC and everything. I just needed to buy it 8 minutes before launch. I get in there and I managed to get it in time. And it was very traumatic, honestly. I was like screaming, banging walls, and I was like, no, this can't happen. And yeah, but thankfully we got it in time, okay. And I said to my friend Mr. LC, okay, I was like, this better be the best goddamn game ever, because I'm going crazy over here. And it turns out that it actually was one of the better games I've played in my time. It was kind of one of the first AAA games that I've experienced that is based in London, besides obviously Battlefield 1, Assassin's Creed, Syndicate, and like Wolfenstein New Order, and also I think New Order 1861. Well, those aren't like massively open world games, and they're not games that kind of give you a real feel of the true gritty London that exists today. And Watch Dogs Legion is set in the near future, so it's not like millions of years ahead or not millions of years back. And really, the shops, the tourist destinations, the cars are all uniquely and creatively designed. The city in itself is awesome, and it truly kind of shows off the culture, I think. Because I've been to London myself, and it's really hard to describe, because even when you're just walking on the streets, there's just a different kind of culture over there. There's a different vibe, and it's really, you know, to capture that in a video game, that is really something else. But what I tried to cover was really how they've designed the open world so beautifully that when it comes to playing missions, which are based in the open world most of the time, and the level design, it really opens up the game, because even though some of the missions are repetitive, which is one of my critiques of the game, and because the open world is so beautiful and it's so widely and creatively designed, it really opens up the missions. So even when missions get repetitive, it's like, you know, get into this location, hack this location, go to a different location, kill someone in that location, mission ended. And it really goes vice versa there for a very long time. But what keeps it is, first of all, the recruitment system and the amount of diversity when it comes to choosing your characters and what way you want to do the mission, but also the level design of the open world. But what about the people that surround the city? Because obviously a main selling point for a lot of people was the recruitment system. That was, you know, no doubt. When it was first announced, everyone was going crazy over that you can play as anyone you want. Legion's true stars are London citizens, hands down. They're randomly generated based on various professions, ethnic backgrounds, and other personalised details. And in previous games, you know, they gave you like basic stuff like their job and how much they earn, and you know, and all that, and their age and everything. It didn't really give you anything else. In this, though, full background. Honestly, it's. I was actually. I'll give you an example. I was surprised a potential recruit disapproved of DedSec because a different character I played on, I accidentally hit them with a car. Like, that's crazy. Like, the game actually memorizes that. I remember I was recruiting a person as well, and I came across their dealer, like their drug dealer, and he was getting harassed by Albion guards. So, like, I was like, hey, I can't have this. So I take out the Albion guards and rescue him. A minute later, my potential recruit calls me and says, man, I owe you. You freed my dealer. How can I repay you? And I literally recruited him like that. I didn't have to do the mission. What I'm talking about is the immense detail they've put into their NPCs is honestly fantastic. And when you unlock gadgets like the Deprofiler, it lets you see their schedule, where they're going. Like, NPC scheduling, it isn't a new concept. Like, it was widely used in Red Dead Redemption 2, but the way it's used and executed really impresses me, honestly. And besides from the odd bug here and there, which is really just scarred pretty much everywhere in the game, I think it's done very, very well. And if anyone is an avid listener of the show, they'll know that I expressed that the recruitment system has to be done near perfect, and it's been done just exactly like that. Now getting on to the story. The game, obviously, multiplayer isn't released until December, so we have to stick with just, you know, plain old solo dolo here. The story's quality is still being debated to this day. Twitter is very interesting. Personally, I think it's on thin ice. Well, not being like particularly bad. I think one of the only reasons it's staying afloat is the pure level of excellence with level design and character choice. The first few missions are, you know, interesting enough, and the odd cinematic often drags us, the players, back in. Overall, it can be very repetitive, and I've stressed that a lot. And I think a lot of people see it as just, generic bad guy versus good guy story. But I feel like it has a much bigger message, even though the missions are repetitive. It does carry a message. In the past, Ubisoft have, they haven't been the best at executing stuff when it comes to utilizing real world events and politics and their hot topics for issues for the backdrop of their games. However, Watch Dogs Legion, I think, does a lot to confront topics like fascism, equality, and the idea that a new technology exposes and amplifies old fears and hatred. Like, Legion not only does an effective job of showing like the banality of evil in plain sight, but also in a more optimistic light shows how like citizens look to London's culture and to each other to overcome oppression. And it does carry quite a strong message, in my opinion. And overall, I think the story, it is on thin ice, but I think the things that it surrounds itself with really kind of brings it in with the characters, level design, and the overall message it does try to send. Because I've said this so many times in my streams to people I know when we're talking about games, is like, games, they're not just kind of a piece of entertainment for me. Although I talk about entertainment, like entertainment is the industry that I've dedicated about the last 5 years of my life towards. But I feel when it comes to video games, it's not something that you can just go like, oh, well, this is pretty neat. Video games, they do carry a very strong message. Developers don't just create this stuff and go like, here, kids, take this, kill people, kill just random people, rob stuff. They create it with a stronger message, and I think that's what a lot of people miss. And whenever I play a game, instantly I don't go to my head like, this is good. What comes to my head is what kind of message it's trying to create and how I can learn from this message. Red Dead Redemption 2 has basically set my morals. Like, be loyal to what matters, which is a quote Arthur says to John. And stuff like, do good things and good things happen. And the world needs a light in the dark tunnel. Stuff like that, moral lessons that games can teach us. But getting away from that, what is my final review of the game? My final review of Watch Dogs Legion is a solid 9 out of 10. It has its flaws, okay, but what game doesn't have its flaws? But overall, I think it's a really great game. And some of the main kind of talking points that I want to go like pros and cons. It has a powerful anti-fascist and hopeful message about unity and perseverance in the face of adversity. It has fantastic hacking and recruitment gameplay that rewards flexibility and curiosity. It has fun operatives, basic characters that offer some needed comical relief, but also make for an interesting playable character in the amazing overworld. And it has a well-realised London that shows off the diverse culture and vibes. And then the cons, repetitive missions and characters that often have you revisit locations and objectives on a repeated basis. And although it has just been released, the bugs and glitches are quite evident, and a game could have been done with it being in development a little bit longer. And I've said that constantly. It has its flaws, but what doesn't? So if you're interested in new games, especially Ubisoft, they're cranking out some fire right now. Far Cry 6, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and obviously Watch Dogs Legion. I actually was talking to my friend today, and he's like, I pre-ordered Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I don't know, like, I'm not like gonna dive right into it because I've already pre-ordered Watch Dogs Legion, and although it's a great game, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get Valhalla and Far Cry 6. Honestly, Far Cry series in general, it's been very mediocre for the past few months. I love Far Cry 5, don't get me wrong there, but it's one of those games that was funner with my friend, rather than just playing on my own. Far Cry New Dawn, I played about 2 hours and went over to my friend's house. I didn't want to pre-order it, and I was like, nah, I'm good keeping my money in my pocket. And then you got Far Cry 6. It has an interesting message. I think they've done the whole thing of dictatorship, and they've kind of I feel like they've went back in one sense. They're going back to like Far Cry 4 now. It's like, yeah, we tried the thing in America. It actually didn't really work out. So now we're going back to what we originally done. And Far Cry 4, man, that was nationally hated. I don't think I came across one person who liked it. But that was true a stage when I wasn't really talking to people. We've all been there. And then Assassin's Creed, I've expressed my worries about this. I actually might even upload a YouTube video about it. As I see it personally, this is my personalized view. I've come across different people who've like literally praised Ubisoft for the stuff they've done with Assassin's Creed. I feel after Black Flag, okay, and there has been some gems in between Black Flag and now, I feel really there hasn't been that step that every series needs to take. You look at the GTA series, for example, you see the difference between GTA 3 and GTA 5. Obviously, it's a massive difference. And not even talking graphics wise, but just mechanics wise. The amount of the message it sends, and especially, I think, the mechanics, the core mechanics of the game, the way it plays and everything. But if you really look at Assassin's Creed, especially between Origins, Odyssey, and now Valhalla from the current gameplay that we've seen, I really don't see that massive a difference. I feel that right now Ubisoft are playing on caution. You know, they're kind of like, well, last time we tried to do something different with the Assassin's Creed series, we got shit on. And I feel like they're afraid to take that next step and go for, like, don't get me wrong, like, having Vikings and Assassin's Creed, totally ambitious, but I feel like they're playing it extremely safe, especially with the mechanics I've seen in Valhalla so far. It looks very similar to Odyssey. Not saying that Odyssey is bad, but I feel that when you are developing a game, you have to keep it going. You have to keep putting your foot forward. And I feel like Ubisoft aren't particularly doing that. Although I feel like Watch Dogs is totally different, because Watch Dogs is the one series that they've always never stuck to a certain theme for. Like, the mechanics of it have always been the same. Like, the hacking really hasn't changed that much throughout the series. If anything, it's got better. But really, the message they try to send and the story they try to communicate with the players has been different every single time. And I think that's one of the things that sticks out the Watch Dogs series. And that's why, like, even though Watch Dogs 1 was, you know, extremely overhyped and disappointing, I feel that people were still praising the Watch Dogs series because they are trying new things every different game, which is, like, you know, it's cool. And especially playing, you know, as a hacker. Like, that's pretty much every child's dream right there. Am I wrong? Like, if you're involved in technology at all, whether it's video games, you kind of dream of, like, being a hacker and, you know, saving the world and all that. But getting away from our Watch Dogs Legion review, we're actually going to have one more piece of Watch Dogs news down the road. But for now, we're going to get straight back into the news. We do actually have quite a lot on Ubisoft this week. Simply because, like, you know, this is Ubisoft's week for releasing games, I guess. Red Dead Redemption 2 was announced as the game of the generation. So that's pretty neat, I guess, right there for any Red Dead fans. I'm not talking about Red Dead Online. Cough, cough, bad. But yeah, no, Red Dead Redemption 2, I try not to go into much detail when I'm talking about this game, because I will talk about it forever. It is a fantastic game. The amount of sheer detail and literally just riding from one town to the next is it's just undescribable. It's amazing, and well deserved. Ubisoft also, going back on some Ubisoft news, Ubisoft walks back on claims about its PS4 games not working on PS5. Although Ubisoft have created some crackers of games, they do have a tendency to not have the best PR. So yeah, but this was a stupid claim made by, I guess, just, you know, an impulsive decision on some person's part, but it did make a claim about PS4 games not working on PS5, and that was that. A little bit more news on Legion. The voice of Watch Dogs 2's Marcus, if you guys remember the main protagonist from Watch Dogs 2, Marcus Holloway, he wasn't asked for a turn in Legion, and when, like, asked about it, he was like, well, yeah, no, it was one of the funner roles that I played, and, you know, fair play to him. I believe that he wasn't like a famous voice actor, so Watch Dogs 2 would have been the biggest thing he'd done, and he wasn't asked for turn in Legion, probably because the tempo, when I like read this, I was like, yeah, the tempo wasn't probably right, because Marcus was a very upbeat character. He's very he always took like a very, very bright outlook on the world, and although there is a lot of comical relief in Watch Dogs Legion, I feel like personally his character wouldn't have really suited London and the kind of message and culture it sends. An interesting story about I don't know how to say this, but Call of Duty Warzone has been downloaded 80 million times. I usually do this every show, but, you know, I'll give you 10 seconds to guess how much gigabytes that takes up. You know, just guess how many 80 million downloads takes up. I'll give you 10 seconds right now. It's quite a big number. I'd be going in the billions if I was you. The billions. For anyone that got it, it was actually 20 billion gigabytes. Yes, Call of Duty Warzone has been downloaded 80 million times. And for anyone interested, that's 20 billion gigabytes. So yeah, it's no secret that Warzone it ain't a small baba. Okay, it's huge. It's huger than me, and that's a pretty hard thing to do. And now moving away from how big something is, another big thing really is EA faces a 10 million fine over FIFA loot boxes in the Netherlands. For anyone that doesn't know, there's been a lot of controversy on EA's side because they're basically having gambling in their games with loot boxes and pay to win and all that, and they have been asked. They've went to court over this and everything, and it's one of the reasons I stopped playing FIFA 19, and I stopped playing online on FIFA altogether. It's because of just the pure pay to win and the loot boxes. But they are facing now a 10 million fine over FIFA loot boxes in Netherlands, and I'm sure like 10 million, that's literal pennies to them. They're a $1 billion organization, but it is a big stepping stone in stopping them from doing this in the future, and really they are kind of just encouraging children to gamble, which isn't coolios at all. Either way, we're going to take a quick music break. If you haven't already, do make sure to check out Mradio on all the social medias, which is Twitter and Instagram at Only Mradio, and YouTube and Twitch at Mradio, and also make sure to join our Discord. Next, we're going to have Lil Baby Life Goes On featuring Gunna and Lil Uzi Vert. So, yeah, enjoy and stay safe.
Cook that shit up, Quay. Trap how G go too fast. I don't need wear no seatbelt. Bad little bitch got no breasts. Upgrade, now she got D cups. How about the range? I'm growing. Who is the baby? He going in. Man, these old rappers getting boring. They be taking shots, I ignore them. Send a pet to the hood while I'm touring. Making plays out of town like I'm Jordan. Need to go get your hoe cause she whoring. If I balk on my way, I'ma score it. Lamborghini, I don't want no Porsches. I'm on fire, don't touch me, I'm torching. Had the fish on my teeth, I went porcelain. Put the time on my back, I'm a horseman. One more year, I'ma make it a Forbes. They look me in the bed like he 40. I be seen inside of the Moreland. Ain't no screens attached, keeping it cordless. She keep calling, but I keep ignoring it. Ain't no stopping, I'm keeping it for it. Many niggas can't stop me, I'm going it. Many niggas can't stop me, I'm going it. Every time the pack get gone, I get another low. My main bitch tryna leave me alone cause I fucked another hoe. I'm like, baby, I know I'm wrong, but this just how life goes. And I know these niggas be happy if I let you roll. Got me walking on a thin line on my tippy toes. Man, that shit crazy, different city with some different hoes. Here we go. Every time the pack get gone, I get another low. My main bitch tryna leave me alone cause I fucked another hoe. I'm like, baby, I know I'm wrong, but this just how life goes. And I know these niggas be happy if I let you roll. Got me walking on a thin line on my tippy toes. Man, that shit crazy, different city with some different hoes. Here we go. I spent the whole M on some clothes. Got a bonus, I sold out the show. Gonna hot like a pot on the stove. Yellow AP on all of my hoes. I like when that white on the toes. Picture me riding around in that rose. I put some ice on my wrist, it was swole. Still ain't got time to lay over with you hoes. All of these drugs in my body, I got paid somebody keep checking my pose. Walk in the club with no warning, take care of the money, they swing on the pole. Water on me like the sunny, I shine when it's sunny, this platinum and rose. Gonna out the street when I go to DC, I'ma fuck with the mo. Every time the pack get gone, I get another low. My main bitch tryna leave me alone cause I fucked another hoe. I'm like, baby, I know I'm wrong, but this just how life goes. And I know these niggas be happy if I let you roll. Got me walking on a thin line on my tippy toes. Man, that shit crazy, different city with some different hoes. Here we go. Every time the pack get gone, I get another low. My main bitch tryna leave me alone cause I fucked another hoe. I'm like, baby, I know I'm wrong, but this just how life goes. And I know these niggas be happy if I let you roll. Got me walking on a thin line on my tippy toes. Man, that shit crazy, different city with some different hoes. Here we go.
Crazy, different city with some different hoes. I can switch my girls up the same way that I change my clothes. Man, it's crazy, I blew back and in her envelope. And you know I'm never lacking, gotta do it, that's up in traffic. Water on my paddock, in automatic.
long cause I fucked another hoe.
Tryna spend the whole M on some clothes. Got a bonus, I sold out the show. Gonna hot like a pot on the stove. Yellow AP on all of my hoes. I like when that wet on no toes. Picture me riding around in that rose. I put some ice on my wrist, it was swole. Still ain't got time to lay over with you hoes.
We get a weakness. You gotta see this. Yeah. Hey, I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances. Finesse a nigga with some counterfeits, but now I'm counting this. Parmesan where my accountant lives. In fact, I'm down in this. You say with my boo babe tastes like Kool-Aid for the analyst. Girl, I can buy your Westie world with my base stuff. Ooh, that pussy good. Once you sit it on my taste buds. I get way too petty once you let me do the extras. Pull up on your block, then break it down. We playing Tetris. AM to the PM, PM to the AM funk. Piss out your per diem, you just gotta hate them funk. If I quit your BM, I still rock Mercedes funk. If I quit this season, I still be the greatest funk. My left stroke just went viral. Right stroke, put a baby in a spiral. Soprano C, we like to keep it on the high note. It's levels to it, you and I know. Bitch, be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Who that nigga thinking that he frontin' on that man? Get the fuck off my stage, I'm the same man. Get the fuck off my dick, that ain't right. I make a play, fucking up your whole life. I'm so fucking sick and tired of the Photoshop. Show me something natural like Afro with your pride. Show me something natural like ass with some stretch marks. Still take you down right on your mama couch in polo sock. Ayy, this shit way too crazy. Ayy, you do not amaze me. Ayy, I blew cool from ACA. Obama just page me. Ayy, I don't fabricate it. Ayy, most of y'all be faking. Ayy, I stay modest about it. Ayy, she elaborated. Ayy, this that Grey Poupon, that AV on that TED Talk. Ayy, watch my soul speak. You let the meds talk. Ayy, if I kill a nigga, it won't be the alcohol. Ayy, I'm the realest nigga after all. Bitch, be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Bitch, sit down. Be humble. Sit down.
Hi everybody, welcome back after the music break. It is me, your host, Mr. Andreas, on episode 10 of the God Mode Monday talk show, and we are back with some Far Cry 6 and Rainbow Six Quarantine news. Unfortunately, they have both been confirmed as delayed, but they are still expected in 2021, so for any fans right there, and sorry to hear about that, honestly, because I know a lot of people are looking forward to those two games. We did talk about Far Cry 6 earlier on in the show, but they are both confirmed to be delayed, and this is just because Ubisoft said we just need more time. It's a pity they didn't do that with Watch Dogs Legion since all the bugs. Hopefully those games won't have a lot of bugs, but yeah. Anywho's, talking about delayments, a lot of people were upset about this, but Cyberpunk 2077 has also been delayed until December, making it actually not eligible for Game of the Year, so it is looking more and more likely that Last of Us Part 2 will be taking up that award, which will be kind of sad, because, it was a pretty crap game. That's just my opinion. It might be true. My opinion is it was a pretty shanty game. along with talking about Shanty games, Netflix is making a live-action Assassin's Creed series. They tried to do this in a movie and it didn't work, so I don't know why they're trying to do it again. But they are, and who knows, being optimistic as of the moment. Personally, I don't think this is going to work. If it didn't work in a movie, I don't know why I think it's going to work in a spanned-out series across, 4 to 10 episodes. But yeah, they are apparently making a live-action Assassin's Creed series. What it's about, I don't know. When's it set? I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say it has something to do with time traveling, an actor no one's heard of, or an actor that everyone's heard of, but they know that shit, or something along those lines. I'm not very optimistic. I lied about saying optimistic. I'm not optimistic at all. For very good reason. Simply because I don't think it's going to work, okay? They tried it with so many series. It didn't work. Mario was lucky to even stay alive after they tried the movie, and that didn't work. Whoever came across the theory that having Mario as a full-blown movie, I just, no. It doesn't really work. Sometimes, games based on movies, sometimes they work, most of the time they don't. But games and movies, it has a repeated pattern of not working, okay? And that's just that. And I don't know why people just can't leave it alone. But Netflix are daring, and who knows, it might turn out to be, the perfect everything. Doubt it, but still. And the last piece of news for today is ray tracing, which is more like a talking point more than anything for me, because I wanted to express my thoughts on ray tracing and my first experience. As some of you might know, and if you don't know, I'm about to tell you, there is ray tracing in Watch Dogs Legion, and it is kind of one of the first experiences of ray tracing I ever had, because I was messing around the settings and just at the start of the stream, seeing what they had to offer, and I saw ray tracing, and it was actually turned off at first, and I turned it to ultra. As a lot of people are saying, oh, that's gonna it's gonna be a lot of weight in your PC, and I know that, okay, I know it's gonna put some more pressure on my PC, but ray tracing is the best goddamn thing in the world. I said it, it's just straight facts. And there's nothing that you can say that will convince me otherwise, because it's just true. If you don't know what ray tracing is, it's basically if you look in a mirror or a car window, not mirror, sorry, or if you look in a shop window, you'll be able to see a reflection. So to most people, that's just common knowledge, but in video games, it's a pretty big deal because for a lot of time it actually wasn't possible. But I think in 2018 and especially in 2019, major breakthroughs were made to make this possible, and it is possible in Red Dead and everything. But in Watch Dogs Legion, it was my first kind of real experience of it, and it was just amazing. I you really don't think that when my friends mentioned that they were talking about it, they're like, oh my god, ray tracing. I was like, yeah, okay, because I don't, if a game is good, a game is good. Graphics aren't going to make a huge difference, and I've always been of the perception that good graphics, bad graphics, if the storyline's good, if the protagonists line up, if there's good character development, and if the core mechanics of the game are done properly, I don't mind if it has the graphics of a Mario game made in 1968. But as of late, when I did play with ray tracing, I was like, oh my god. I didn't let it bias me in the game's overall what I thought of the game, because overall the game was still good with or without ray tracing. But graphics wise, ray tracing, biggest deal ever. I'm in love with the concept, and I take back everything. I never really said anything bad about ray tracing, but I did say that it doesn't make a big difference, which is just a plain blatant lie. If you are given the option to have ray tracing, do it, because it just adds a whole another level of realism to the game. It just makes everything just so different. It kind of immerses you more into the world. Saying that, it's not a huge difference, but it does make a difference, and I think that overall, my perception and reception of the game, it kind of came to me more naturally. I was like, yeah, this is a game that, it looks real. I wasn't, ever since Red Dead Redemption 2, my expectations for common, games coming out was very high graphics-wise. Especially with a AAA developer, my expectations are through the roof, and I'm glad to say Watch Dogs Legion didn't really disappoint. The only thing that let it down graphics wise is the water. For some reason, game developers, there's two things they cannot get right when it comes to players and all that. Is first of all, well, not players, just graphics wise. Is first of all, the water. I have seen a very rare occasion that game developers have got water right. It's either too murky, too dark, too light, too blocky. Overall, just disgusting to look at. I don't think in my time there's been water done properly. Speaking of that, Red Dead, Rockstar probably the closest that they've come to. GTA 5 and Red Dead probably the closest that come to it. But usually there's two things in video games that people don't get right, which is the water and drunkenness, drinking. For some reason this drinking as a concept to people isn't done right in gaming. They don't get that whole thing, even though they've probably had like 12 hangovers. They can't even get the core concept of just drinking right, which is, I guess, that's just that, isn't it? There's nothing else to it. But I actually watched a Nakey Jakey video on that. If you guys don't watch Nakey Jakey, I'd definitely suggest him, because overall he's just a comical character, and he kind of has a very funny outlook. I don't think this is the first time I've suggested him, but he has a very funny outlook on just things in gaming. He doesn't talk about, a lot of people do when they decide to talk about gaming. They talk about very serious topics like how politics is affecting gaming and sports. I actually read a recent article about that. It's like and then they talk just really about dark stuff, and then if not dark stuff, like top 10 things you need to know about the newest game coming out. And overall, there's two people that I trust for gaming videos when it comes down to it. There's probably more, but two people always come to mind. First of all, Game Ranks. If you guys don't watch them, they're really informative. They always get to the point. I like people who just get to the point, okay? It's because it's kind of what I do. I do a lot of talking, but I get to the point. You understand what I'm trying to say. And then obviously Nakey Jakey, who takes a very comical outlook at video games. I remember one of his videos, he talks about dogs in video games, he talks about music in video games, he talks about corporations and basically what they do with video games, about how Pizza Hut used to do like a PS2, when you bought pizza you got a PS2 game. And they used to do loads of kind of, he still does them, like he still does lots of them. And they're just kind of really entertaining and comical outlook on video games. And especially how they got him through his tough time in life. And I just, I think he's worth a listen to. And then Game Ranks, if you're just looking for things to talk about gaming-wise on your YouTube channel, or you want to be more informed, you're getting into your friend group and they're talking about ray tracing and AMD and Ryzen and Nvidia, and you don't know what they're talking about, and you're like, what the frick are you talking about? And then you get laughed at for not, knowing about it. And I can see that being a scenario in real life, to be honest. But yeah, if you're interested in learning more about video games, I'd go to Game Ranks. And if you just want to, just chill, then just go to Nakey Jakey. Two very good people. Or if, third option, just keep listening to our radio show every Monday. If you can't tune in on Monday, you can look it out on the YouTube channel. But that is about it news-wise. As I said, there's not a lot of news this week. The news is kind of, slowly but surely kind of decreasing. But hopefully with Christmas coming up, there'll be a hell of a lot more news, because this is like the season where stuff gets announced and people are like, there's a lot of gaming news, a lot of discounts as well. So I believe Black Friday is coming up. Am I crazy? I feel like that's coming up soon. Is it? Yeah, I feel like Black Friday is coming up soon. So I'm actually gonna start saving up my money for Black Friday, because god damn, like a few years ago you talk about Black Friday, I'd say you smoking crack or something, but now Black Friday is the best goddamn day of the year. It's better than my birthday. I don't even like my birthday anymore. I'm just like, Black Friday, that is just an awesome day altogether. Like, discounts everywhere. And Cyber Monday, oh my god, Cyber Monday and Black Friday, that week is just awesome in general. I remember on Black Friday, I remember where I was last year on Black Friday. I was actually at a wedding, and I was like, I'm happy for the person who's getting married, but I was like sad. It's like I can't be looking at the Black Friday deals. I did get to stick around for Cyber Monday though, so that was pretty fun. So yeah. But if you're looking to pick up some games, Black Friday's the day to do it. If you're on a tight little budget. But either way, we're gonna love you and leave you, as the phrase goes in Ireland. If you have enjoyed episode 10, that's right, we're in double figures now. Can only go upwards from here in double figures. I can't believe we're on episode 10 already. Kind of I don't know whether to think it goes way too slow or goes way too fast, because like the hours on these shows, I don't think it's enough. I talk way too much. Like basically the first half an hour of all these shows is just me rambling on about a random game of my choosing. I think for like the first few episodes it was like The Novelist. I talked about that game. Like, you know, 4, 5, and 6, that was just all about Red Dead. Like that took up the majority of the show, simply because I was replaying Red Dead Redemption 2 at the time. And the latter bits of the show have just been taken up by random theory videos, which is about, you know, ray tracing, and then there's been a review. I'm going to try and implement more reviews into the show as well. We'll be doing a lot more things. That's for damn sure. But we are going to leave. If you haven't already, do make sure to check out Mradio on all the social medias at Mradio on YouTube and Twitch, and at the Only Mradio on Instagram and Twitter. And make sure to join our Discord. If you haven't enjoyed the show, make sure to tune in next week, or you can catch previous shows on our YouTube channel, which is Mradio. Either way, we are going to leave you with some Truth Hurts by Lizzo and some Sucker by the Jonas Brothers. I have been Mr. San Andreas, and stay safe, everybody.
Why men great till they gotta be great? Woo! I just took a DNA test, turns out I'm 100% that bitch. Even when I'm crying crazy, yeah, I got boy problems, that's the human in me. Bling bling, then I solve them, that's the goddess in me. You could've had a bad bitch, not committal. Help you with your career, just a little. You're supposed to hold me down, but you're holding me back, and that's the sound of me not calling you back. Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True hurts needed something more exciting. Bum bum dum dum bum. You tried to break my heart, oh that breaks my heart. That you thought you ever had it, no you ain't from the start. Hey, I'm glad you're back with your bitch. I mean, who would wanna hide this? I will never ever 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 be your side chick. I put the singing single, ain't worried about a ring on my finger, so you can tell your friend, shoot your shot when you see him. It's okay, he already in my DM. Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True hurts needed something more exciting. Bum bum dum dum bum bum. I'ma hit you back in a minute. I don't play tag, bitch, I've been it. We don't fuck with lies, we don't do goodbyes. We just keep it pushing like aye, aye, aye. I'ma hit you back in a minute. I don't play tag, bitch, I've been it. We don't fuck with lies, we don't do goodbyes. We just keep it pushing like aye, aye, aye. Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True hurts needed something more exciting. Bum bum dum dum bum we go together, better than birds of a feather, you and me. We change the weather, yeah. I'm feeling heat in December when you found me.
I've been dancing on top of cars and stumbling out of bars. I follow you through the dark, can't get enough. You're the medicine and the pain, the tattoo inside my brain. And baby, you know it's obvious.
I'm a sucker for you. Say the word and I'll go anywhere blindly. I'm a sucker for you. Yeah. Any road you take, you know that you'll find me.
I'm a sucker for all the subliminal things no one knows about you.
About you. sucker for you.
Yeah,
Don't complicate it,
yeah.
'cause I know you and you know everything about me. I can't remember all of the nights I don't remember when you're around me.
I've been dancing on top of cars and stumbling out of bars. I follow you through the dark, can't get enough.
You're the medicine and the pain, the tattoo inside my brain, and baby you know it's obvious. I'm a sucker for you. Say the word and I'll go anywhere blindly. I'm a sucker for you. Yeah. Any road you take, you know that you'll find me.
I'm a sucker for all the subliminal things no one knows about you,
About you,
about you.
about you.
Making the typical me break my typical rules. It is true,
I'm a sucker for you.
yeah. I've been dancing on top of cars and stumbling out of bars. I follow you through the dark, can't get enough.
You're the medicine and the pain, the tattoo inside my brain, and baby you know it's obvious. I'm a sucker for you.
Yeah,
Say the word and I'll go anywhere blindly. I'm a sucker for you. Yeah. Any road you take, you know that you'll find me.
I'm a sucker for all the subliminal things no one knows about you,
About you,
about you,
about you.
Making the typical me break my typical rules. It is true,
I'm a sucker for you.